Hi, good afternoon. I'm Sandeep, and you are watching our special show, Lunch with Business Leaders. Well, don't be surprised, as we will be very soon at a lunch table joined by our guest. I'm here waiting for our guest and blocking this road as well. So basically, I'm going to invite a special guest today who is very new in business leadership. But having said that, he brings formidable leadership experience from politics. He has been a minister of the Crown till a couple of years ago, and till very recently he was a leader of one of the main opposition parties. So no surprises in guessing who is going to be our guest today. He is Simon Bridges, who is entering into a new role of CEO of Auckland. Hi Simon,
Hey,
how are you?
Sandy? Great to see you.
Pleasure.
Great
First
to
of
have
all,
lunch with you.
certainly, it's my pleasure. Many congratulations for accepting the new role of CEO of Auckland Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm really looking forward to it.
You
It's
should be,
exciting.
and more thankfully for accepting our invitation to be here on this street in the inner CBD,
Wouldn't miss it.
and so that we can put up all the hard questions, about the
Fantastic.
businesses, how they're struggling.
Sounds good.
So let's have a stroll. Great. Stroll and find a place to eat. We are taking you to an Indian place.
Brilliant.
I believe that you love Indian food.
Oh, too much.
Too much, right? Okay. So we'll find out soon. So let's go to this restaurant. Do you want to try out what you're going to try
Oh, look,
tonight?
I like it all, but maybe we could have something with lamb and maybe one of the lentil dishes. That would be great.
Perfect. So let's go and find a seat and we will get the food ready.
Fantastic.
Perfect. Come on. Right. So we are here at our lunch table. As we can see, the lunch has been served.
Looks great.
And Simon is already helping himself. So Simon, can I talk to you about the food? You told me that you are very much into food and you eat a lot of Indian food.
Yeah.
Do you cook at all at home or?
A little, but I wouldn't say I'm a good cook. I probably am a foodie, as they say, because I'm eating out a lot. My wife and I, and our kids actually are 10, 8, and 4. They love it. But myself personally, look, I can fry, I can boil, but I certainly I wouldn't feel confident to do something like this particularly well. But eating it, I can manage that.
Perfect. And how often, since you have changed this role now,
Yes.
so how often you are getting the chance to go out with your family for a dinner out or weekend out?
Yeah, I mean, it is different from politics. Politics means being in Wellington, and we were living in Tauranga, and now we're living in Auckland. So I would be away during the week. Now, of course, I'm home every evening, basically, and free in the weekend. So it's much better for family time. It's not to say, it doesn't involve some hard work, but much better for family.
Surely. And I think that is looking on your face as well. You are glowing a lot more than you used to be.
I think so. It's interesting, but I think when you get out of something like politics, if it's your decision and you make it for the right reasons, I don't think I will ever look back.
Sure. Let's talk more about the transition from politics to business, and I will go right back to your valedictory speech,
Yes.
where you have said that to your fellow National Party MPs that more boldness is required,
Yes.
and you have asked them to not be worried about the focus and the polls and demonstrate more boldness. And I think probably in your personal life you have demonstrated that boldness, taking that sharp swing, leaving political career after a successful career of over 14 odd years, and I would say getting into the unknown and taking this leadership and business advocacy. So tell us more about that boldness part. What drives you from where it comes, and do you think that is the right thing to do?
Yeah, I think, if I think about me, I wasn't bold from day one. but I think as you become more experienced and more comfortable in your own skin, I have become bolder. And you're right, look, none of this means you're a cowboy, but for me, you know, when you think it through in politics and getting out, a lot of people would have stayed. It's safe in a way, even though a lot of people would say politics isn't safe, but you know, when you have a good seat and so on, you can do it for a long time. But it was a bold decision. I think for New Zealand, and this is the thing I was trying to say in my final speech, you know, New Zealand has big problems in the economy, in law and order, in education, when many children aren't even going to school, and what our classes are teaching, there needs to be reform. In health, you know, big problems here in Auckland where we are around getting into the hospital in a timely, good way. So big problems require bold solutions. I don't know that just as we've had in the past, small, minor tinkering, incremental, on occasion is good enough. And so whether it's the red team, the blue team, the yellow team, the green team, we want some boldness.
There's a black team as well.
Exactly. Well, we'll see how they go. We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And an integral part of this boldness is also bringing fresh perspective.
Yes.
And that brings me to the next question.
Yes.
As our readers and viewers, they would know that you are stepping into another prestigious position of being CEO of Auckland Chamber of Commerce. And the outgoing CEO, who is a revered business leader, Michael Barnett, he said that probably he was looking for somebody to hand in the reins to somebody who is young, and who is able to bring fresh perspectives. And I think in your first interview to the media after taking over, after announcing this changeover, you have already said that probably in your role as CEO, you will be considering ethnic business advisory panel.
Yes.
That is the fresh perspective. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the first things some good leaders said to me, you know what, when you get a new role like this, a significant role with a big team, one of the best things to do is to listen. And so I will go in and be listening and understanding the business and the organisation and talking to businesses about what they think we need to do. But I think one thing is true, and that is this. If you look at Auckland right now, and I want to be a business champion for Auckland, for small businesses like this through to bigger ones as well, what is it? You know better than me probably, Sandeep, but four or so Aucklanders are born overseas. We know there are big Indian communities here of many different faiths and backgrounds, big Chinese community, not to mention Filipinos and many other people who come to this city to make it their home. They deserve, thank you, they deserve good representation. And you know, I'm generalising, but I'm sure you'll agree. If we think about Indian Aucklanders, disproportionately Indian Aucklanders are in business. They've got a restaurant, they've got a retail business, maybe they're in taxis, maybe they're in ICT, and given that, I think it's very important that we're hearing from ethnic Aucklanders about what it is they need in business. Many of the issues will be the same, but there will be some specific ones, I'm sure, where an ethnic advisory board to tell me what it is we should be championing, doing, assisting with, will be, not just a good thing, I think hopefully actually a vital thing.
Surely.
As part of Auckland's growth.
Definitely. And talking about ethnic business advisory, probably what you have also touched is connecting with the small businesses.
Yeah.
One of the criticism of Auckland Chamber of Business Chamber has been that probably they have failed to connect with the small businesses as much as they should have. So I think you would have touched that chord as well. Now, you have already come out with this idea, and probably the board of Auckland Business Chamber.
Yes.
So, had you an opportunity to talk to them how they are receiving this idea? What was the kind of reception?
Well, no one could replace Michael Barnett. He's his own very significant character. and he has so much experience. So I'm stepping into big shoes. There's a board, it's a very experienced board. You know, it has people like Peter Thompson, the managing director of Barford and Thompson. It has guys like Fred Hallaby. Hallaby Meats, a big meat processor in South Auckland. Many others as well, legal partners and so on. It's fair to say I've met with the board a little, but we haven't had significant discussions about these things. I feel certain though that they understand the changing face of Auckland, and they're going to want to get behind strategies that are going to be good for all Aucklanders.
Please enjoy your food as well.
Fantastic, it's great.
Yes.
So good. How about you? I mean, do you eat a steady diet of Indian cuisine or
I am
all sorts?
sure. I am also a staunch foodie, just like you. And obviously at home we do cook and eat Indian food.
Yeah.
But yeah, my young son, like any other Kiwi, he is wanting to experiment with all kinds of food. So yeah, we reserve few nights for Asian, Kiwi food,
Yes.
steaks and everything. Yeah. And I have to constantly struggle to sell him that we can still cook Indian food at home. So what is your situation at home? What is your family like?
You know, we've just moved from Tauranga, where I was Member of Parliament for 14 years, to Auckland. And we've had an apartment here for a long time. We are in that. It's a bit small for Natalie and 3 children and me. And so because of that, we're eating out a
So
lot.
welcome to Auckland suburb.
Exactly. It's crowded. So we're eating out a lot in the CBD, around Parnell, around Newmarket, sometimes over the other side, Ponsonby, K Road. You know, there's some great places to eat here and so much choice. And that's not to say that it hasn't been a tough time with COVID.
Yes.
A lot of business issues there, and I'm getting those firsthand from a lot of restaurateurs when I walk into their restaurants.
Right. So my next question is that talking about your vision in this leadership role of premium business advocacy group, do you think it is the right time to take up the leadership of this business advocacy, given that we are still in the middle of COVID pandemic and probably the business environment have changed maybe irreversibly? What are your thoughts on that?
I think there's a massive appetite from Auckland businesses for business leadership. I think it's often hard for a specific business to bang the drum and get what they need and to have the support that they need. I mean, if you're a small business, to understand the complexity of resource consents or employment laws or health and safety, all of these things are quite difficult. And so they need help, they need enabling. But even for really big businesses, look, I've been talking with big businesses in the city, and they're worried sometimes about their employees getting in and out safely, given some of the social problems in the CBD. But they don't feel that they are things that they can go out and make a noise about or champion or advocate for. And so it does require someone in an apolitical association position like this who isn't representing just that business or just that business, either small through big, but is representing all businesses and being the voice of that. That doesn't mean that we should always be complaining. We've got to come with positive solutions as well. But look, I think it's a good time. Yes, we still are at a level in the age of COVID, and there's new Omicron variant sweeping through, and that's that. But what's also true is we are starting to count the cost of a time when people haven't been eating in restaurants, people haven't been back in the office, and we're needing new thoughts, ideas, but more than that, solutions.
So yeah, you have rightfully touched on some of the key issues that main urban centres, and particularly here in Auckland, they are facing. So how do you think you will be making that advocacy or making that noise to bring that change that you want to?
I don't know if you know this, Sandy, but I was in my first job, a lawyer, and I was a criminal lawyer for the Crown, the police, if you like, a jury trial lawyer. And one of the things you get told as a jury trial lawyer is the best way to persuade people isn't by grabbing them by the throat or yelling at them, and I haven't always done this perfectly, but is by being more charming and persuasive. And so, I don't want to be someone who is complaining all the time. Thank you, beautiful.
You think we should order this one more lamp?
Oh,
Would be great?
oh no, you have.
Okay.
Because as I said to you, I like it, I want it, but I have to be careful.
All right, okay. So now since you're out of politics and naturally,
Would you like to have any drinks, sir? Any soft
I'm good.
can we get a refill of this lamp? One more lamp.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We want to make sure that we are feeding you well.
Now you've got it, I'll have some more.
Yes. So, yes.
But I actually obviously I love the chicken dishes, the lamb dishes, even though, it's not so familiar to New Zealanders, but the goat dishes,
Yes.
which is such a specialty. But
Yeah, it is
I also love the vegetarian and vegan ones as well. Amazing.
If I have to ask you to revitalize our Auckland CBD, as we all know that it is a very pressing issue facing Auckland businesses.
Yes.
That probably what we are seeing there is not good for the business environment. So what will be your three most strong ideas through which you can revitalize?
There are some organisations really try. There's the Heart of the City, which is funded by Special Rate, and they try their best and do some good work. And there are others also trying. I actually think there's 3 or 4 things that are pretty important. One is obviously getting control of law and order, and people can have all their different views, but in the end, if people don't feel safe going into a shopping area, a business area, they're going to stay at home, or they're going to go to the malls. 277, not far from where we are now, or wherever it is, or Sylvia Park. So that's I think an important issue. The other 2 or 3, I think, not just criminal, but antisocial behaviours, problems like that. I think there's big social solutions that are required there. I think the other one is car parking. We've got a council that's making it very hard to come into the city as a family with a car and so on. And so I think that's important. Final one I mentioned to you, it's my own personal view. People have different views. But if you think about COVID, what it meant was that cities all over the world, people left. They worked from home, they did Zoom. What has continued, even as we are on the other side, it's to some extent, is businesses and certainly council still have their employees back at home. Some hybrid working, but back at home. Sure. And I think it's important actually that businesses show some leadership, as well as the government and local government, by bringing their people back into the office. Maybe not every day, I accept there'll be some hybrid working, but more often. Because then the restaurants are fuller, then the retail spaces have more customers, and you have a more vibrant, exciting exchange of ideas actually, which we need in a CBD.
Sure. So in terms of bringing back the workers back into CBD, how do you rate current government's leadership in that space? Do you think government has done enough? Or do you think that's all the government can do in basically sending an open invitation that businesses can decide if they want to bring back those employees? Or do you think businesses will have to demonstrate more ownership and leadership?
I think in a way it's the last. Actually, if you take the council, they have somewhere between 2,500 and 3,500 staff in their Albert Street building. But at the moment, it's not anything like that. On a good day, it's about 40% of that. On a bad day, on Friday, it's about 22%. Businesses, we don't have good figures, but it seems that that's also true in relation to that. So I think actually business leaders need to assess their circumstances, but if they can, err on the side of bringing people back into work. I tell you what, I can understand it. For people of a certain age, maybe in their mid-40s like me, working from home has an attraction to it. But actually for a lot of young workers, there's nothing like being at work with other people, sharing ideas, learning from more senior colleagues, having social activities.
Sure.
So it's pretty important to get people back in.
Perfect. Right, so we are almost at the end of our lunch.
Beautiful.
And yeah, we will write a review.
I ate too much, Sandy. This is your fault.
Yeah.
Keep putting more on my plate.
Fair enough.
But I left the cucumber in the end.
Surely. Well, that is just to avoid that guilt trip, So yeah, the goal is to feed you well, to get the right answers.
You have, but I think, now I will be sleepy this afternoon.
Right, okay. So Simon, before I let you go and enjoy the rest of the day, maybe a stroll here in Newmarket as well, a couple of more questions. Like, do you regret leaving politics at all?
No. I tell you what though, I will sometimes look back sadly. I was finance spokesperson when I left. It would have been a great privilege to be finance minister of New Zealand. So there is a difference between being sad, missing some parts of it, and regretting.
Sure. And that is completely understandable.
Yeah.
With you spent around 14-15 odd years in that career.
Yeah, I think so. So I miss it, sad sometimes, but not regret it. And I'm very excited about the future. Business, on the chamber, helping and being a champion for Auckland business, and then maybe doing a few of my own little business projects. There's a little bit of media work, and also
you are encroaching
some business
in our territory.
Oh, we're all friends. We're all friends.
So tell us more about that show that is coming up.
Well, I do a couple of things. I write a regular column, a business column for the NBR, and then I also will be doing a weekly podcast starting in about a month or so.
Right.
With stuff, and that's really just about, if I'm honest, fun, something interesting, but also a bit like you were doing right now. Good conversations with people that hopefully help others to get some meaning, understanding about what's happening, and so they're not going to be hard political interviews or anything
no
like
more,
that.
No more politics.
No, not for a while. Maybe we'll see what happens when my children get older.
Sure. That's a long way to go.
Yeah.
That's a long way to go. Now, if I have to ask you, one of your worries that worries you most about current state of...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've enjoyed the
Beautiful.
answer.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much. So, current state of New Zealand society and politics. So, what worries you most?
Right now, for business, don't ask me, ask any business. Ask your average Indian restaurant, your average retailer, but actually manufacturing, anything. It's skills. There just aren't the people here. We've had immigration settings and COVID, and look, natural factors that mean it's very hard to get people to do the jobs that we need to grow New Zealand to be an exciting, vibrant country. Alongside that, what worries me is that we are starting to see this Kiwi thing we talk about, the brain drain, a sense of young New Zealanders leaving. And so we have to be, pretty mindful of that, make sure New Zealand stays attractive and we keep the best and the brightest and the skilled here, the plumbers, the electricians, etc., the builders, the hairdressers. And so these are things that worry me. There are answers to them, and I think actually a strong business lobby like Auckland Business Chamber is going to need to be quite vocal about them.
Perfect. One last final question. What excites you most currently about New Zealand, or the near future?
I feel like I need to say Auckland, but it is true. I mean, at the moment, I grew up in Auckland. I'm a Westie, but I've been away in Tauranga for 20-something years, and now I'm back living here for a couple of months. It's exciting to be back in a significant city. It's not it's not Mumbai or Delhi or
But still it's vibrant.
but it's it's 1.5 bit over a million people. It's got some great things going on. So whilst we can be worried about the skills and the quote brain drain, on the other side of it, I do see a lot of clever people, a lot of wealth creation, a lot of people doing interesting things, and we just got to focus on that and growing that, so that we don't have those other problems that I'm worried about to too much of a degree.
Great. I think we need to end up our lovely lunch conversation on this optimistic note. So thank you very much, Simon. Thanks for sharing time out of your time, which is very precious. You have got the time again with the family, and you're enjoying that. So thank you very much for sharing the time.
Hey, thanks so much.
And we wish you all the best for your new role.
Thanks.
Thank you. So that was Simon Bridges donning a new role of CEO of Auckland Business Chambers, which would be starting in late August. We will continue this series. We will continue to bring you our lunch conversation with some of other prominent business leaders in Auckland and New Zealand. Thank you. Thank you for watching the Weekend Break.